the early Haight Street Fair was very much a product of the people running the nightclub Shady Grove and other people on the street, namely
Pablo Heising,
and the whole crew were all from Haight Ashbury.
right? Lawrence Holtberg.
He had various stores on Haight Street.
Artifacts.
Selling antiques and anything he could get his hands on, but not stolen goods, apparently. Occasionally we used to have people who'd stolen something and came by trying to sell it.
Yeah.
I remember somebody came by with a 3,000-year-old, I don't know that year, it was old anyway, like 500 years old.
Yeah.
A Japanese masterwork bonsai
Wow.
stolen from the park. I'm sure he didn't get far because it obviously wasn't his.
Right. So who were some of the other beginning people in the Haight Street, in the producing the Haight Street Fair?
She was very influential to me because I'd work for her and do straight advertising in the press for the store. I designed the logo, which is still there. The amusing story was that the sign manufacturer who looked at the job misread feet as inches and so quoted on the sign as though it was 11 inches. It was 23 or something like that. Anyway, it was 23 feet. It wouldn't have been that. It was like 14 feet.
It was supposed to be inches, but they measured it in feet, and so it was huge.
No, it was the other way around.
Oh.
They quoted on it in inches.
Oh, quoted on it.
It was really in feet, and it was like only $150.
Oh, wow.
And so Betty kept them to their quote.
Wow.
So she got this enormous sign.
For very cheap.
For very cheap.
And it's the same
Still
sign
there.
that's up at Mendels now?
It's a little bit faded, but not all that much.
Yeah. So Robert was one of the people who first...
He was one of the collective of people at Shady Grove.
What was his last name? Robert
Cruzan.
And he took the photos that we've been showing, the black and white photos
Yes,
of the very first.
Good photographer and
And he was the florist at Shady Grove, you said? Yeah. I was also thinking about the Robert who printed the posters, or who...
Well, there was a Robert who was...
the one who passed away last year.
Landlord on Ashbury, further up. And a lot of people who lived in his house were creative, and so he was associated with early Haight Ashbury.
I was thinking of the Robert who passed away last year.
Robert Cruzan?
No. I don't know. Sorry. I can't remember. My mind's...
Well, Robert Cruzan, he died 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah. I was thinking of somebody else, but it's okay. The one who supported you on adding community.
Oh, yes. Robert.
Yeah.
He did the actual physical paste up of it. Robert, yes, he was one of the founders of the street fair, along with what's our friend's name, the hairdresser?
Oh, Michael Xavier.
Michael Xavier, yeah.
You mean one of the recent people who've been working on the street fair, rather than the original?
Did he work on the original?
Michael Xavier's too young to be working on the...
Yes, I think so, yes.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, he was probably 8.
I think you described it before as Pablo kind of handed the torch off to Michael
Yes,
or
I
something
think
like that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he did. But he didn't exactly. He was. They were working together, I think, is what happened. Because nobody expected Pablo to drop down there.
Yeah. So what are some stories about the feeling, the atmosphere at the beginning of putting together the Haight Street Fair?
It was a rock and roll club, not very similar to the place next door to us here, except it was on Haight Street.
The Shady Grove.
Shady Grove, and had a much younger, less wealthy audience than here.
Mm-hmm. Here, as in Brand, here in Sonoma.
Brand,
yeah.
Shady Grove.
Who's next door to us. So the atmosphere was, you were hired as the art director, or
anyway, as serious as art director. I was the guy
no
who
titles.
did the poster.
Yeah, so the guy who did the advertisements and posters and things.
Yes, and there were lots of flyers of various bands.
Yeah, which we have several copies
I have
of.
a complete collection of Shady Grove posters.
Oh, nice. And you also have a big collection of the first Haight Street Fair flyers and thanks to Lawrence, a poster
all sorts
and
of things, tickets and flyers. And same thing for those the Hookers Ball, all sorts of little flyery bits going around. Did very good PR.
So what would you say are the major differences between the first Haight Street Fair and what it is like today?
The first street fair was the biggest, I think. It was way over the
allowance.
In the police report, it's no more than 50,000 people. Well, there were probably at least 150,000 people.
Wow.
So
it was like sardines walking through the streets.
Solid people from one end to the other.
Wow. And you guys weren't expecting it to be that big, right?
No way. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Who was in charge of the PR on that?
Well, I did the poster.
Right.
Guess that's me in that case.
But about distributing and getting the word out there.
It must have got out pretty well because the whole of Haight Street, was plastered with it. And so everybody knew about it.
Was it advertised on TV or no? Newspapers?
I think it was on radio. I forget now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether we got any TV. I doubt it.
Probably KSAN or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right on the era.
Well, you would have been, yes, definitely.
Okay. And then other PR. So we know about the posters and the flyers.
There was something going around about it. It was the biggest one ever.
It's amazing to have that sort of turnout from flyers and posters and.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I've got a collection of all of them.
You've got a good collection, yeah. We should get all of that out and take photos of it since the 43rd annual Haight Street Fair is coming up in next month in October this year because of COVID. Usually it's in second Sunday in June.
That's right.
Haven't had one for 2 years, so everybody's looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be a bit like the first one. That was something.
So we typically stay at the no commerce zone of the virtual tea party, which
nothing is sold or.
Yeah.
I usually do portraits.
Mm-hmm. People can sit and relax, escape the heat, and commune with one another.
Outside of Mendels.
Right outside of Mendels and Gus's Market. It's got a blue top with flags around the border for shade as sidewall.
We used to have many flags, but we were obliged to give the flags away if somebody claimed it was there. That's my national flag.
Oh, really?
And eventually they all went.
It's neat because there's still original Haight Ashbury stuff laying around, original Haight Street Fair things sometimes shown, which is nice, and photo albums of street fairs throughout. So you and Cat Bell and Richard Ivanhoe started the No Commerce Zone virtual tea party tent. How
yes.
many years into the street fair?
I think it must have been about 8 years into the
Okay,
street
so you
fair.
guys have been doing it for a long time.
30 years.
Almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still going.
Well, not for 2 years
Because COVID, right. But will be in October.
Isn't that great? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the first fair didn't have booths, but they did have artisans, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was mostly, the idea was it was people selling their own work. And
right.
so it was very low key. And
now it's a mixture of lots of things.
mm-hmm.
And there's 2 band stages, one at either end.
I think there are 3 actually.
Oh,
There's
okay.
one at either end and one on, I forget the name of the middle street, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't, yeah, no, I think they still do have 3 stages, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well,
But
it's so
there's
long since the last street fair, it's difficult to remember.
one at Masonic and Haight and the other one by Whole Foods. And then a smaller, probably no stage, but I think people are standing on the street.
On the back of a truck, if I recall.
Yeah.
Rightly.
And then the second street fair, was it a little bit more low key than the first? How did you guys, since the city didn't want it so large, would you do less advertising, less posters?
Well, it was Pablo who wheedled all that. He was really good at dealing with the city.
Uh-huh. How did you guys get the city to agree to the fair to begin with?
The guy who worked on the Castro Street Fair,
Harvey Milk
Harvey Milk,
Harvey.
advised us.
Uh-huh.
I have a drawing, I have a large painting that I sold of Harvey Milk addressing
the
Haight
street.
Ashbury contingent.
Uh-huh. And you have sketches in your book still from it, yeah. The painting though, you sold that to somebody or gave it to somebody?
The guy on the corner. Do you remember he bought 2 of my paintings?
The guy on the corner?
Yeah, on Haight Ashbury.
The Irish guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
The house painter.
I didn't know who bought it, but
Yeah, he was a house painter.
nice.
I mean, it just seems so weird. I mean, he paid $1,000 each for them.
Nice. What was the other one that he bought from you?
That one of the car going up over
Oh, okay.
into the
Yeah, you have that on, I think
sticker.
a sticker, and it was also on the cover of the Haight Ashbury magazine. What was
Yeah,
that?
that's right. Yeah, cropped.
Yeah. So Pablo was able to tone it down the next couple of years.
Well, it was his report didn't necessarily reflect what
What was happening?
yeah, 500,000 people, you know.
Yeah. So what are some of your memories? So you guys would all gather inside of Shady Grove.
Yes, I remember the meeting where it all went down, and Pablo and Lawrence Holberg and Gordon Edelheit formed themselves a group of people to run the street fair. I think they thought of it as a money-making project, and so they were fiercely protective of the name. Big deal. I mean, it's ridiculous.
John Flores was part of this too, or?
Yeah, John Flores was beaten down severely by Robert, whose thing this was, that he had been using the street fair logo inappropriately without paying the street fair or something like that.
He didn't think it was a big deal, and then it became one.
Yeah. But now Robert has gone, I think that strict adherence to the letter of the law
Robert, which one?
Robert, who is deceased.
Well, I think.
Oh well, they're both
Yeah.
both Roberts are deceased, aren't they? Robert Street Fair rather than Robert Flowers.
Okay. The one who passed away last year.
Yeah.
That supported your use of the word community in the poster, whereas Pablo Heising didn't.
Well, anybody nowadays would think that putting neighborhood in was a positive, and it was just the fact that I did it on my own bat rather than got official approval for it.
Right. Which you kind of did to poke
which
at.
Pablo took great exception to, and
Yeah.
so waged war against me for that ever after. Yes.
Yeah.
Decorating Haight Street.
You were tasked with decorating Haight Street?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We did posters, and people from volunteered. I had a classroom at the bottom of the school next door.
Tasked for decorating Haight Street for the street fair?
Yes.
Oh, okay, for the
with
first street
posters
fair.
and flags. We made a big banner that couldn't be flown because it was too windy. Now it had holes in it, but there was a howling gale that day, and it threatened to pull the firemen off the roof who were holding it. They said, "We can't do this."
And you were extending it the length of the street from the...
not the length, of the width of the street, which is 45 feet.
Right, that's what I meant.
And the banner was way too heavy. You know, it should have been all... Anyway.
And it was between the Thai restaurant,
and the
Ploy 2, and across the street.
I think it's hairdressers or something. But this was up on the 3rd floor.
Who made the banner? Camille?
Camille, yes.
Camille Houston. And
Camille Houston, she was
good at
banner
that.
maker.
Yeah, she made the
banners
coyote.
for Coyote as well. At least 2. There's Masquerade banner and a Coyote banner.
Nice.
I think people stole all of them.
Oh,
I don't think
jeez.
any of them are known.
Yeah.